Bearcat Bounce Podcast. We're back at it again. Happy Monday, guys. Happy Monday. We need to do a study on Mondays. Mondays are quite interesting, but Mondays are also a Monday. Monday is a time where I get to come on here and I get to chat with my guys, But also it's a Monday though. Let's not get too far off track. It's a Monday where the Bearcats coming off a thrilling come from behind. What the heck is going on? One of the crazier games inside and out. Can we say a tale of 3 minutes and then the rest of the 37 minutes? I don't know. Can we? It's kind of crazy. But it is a Monday following a win, a quad 2 win, if you will, over that team from Orlando, the Disney World, pardon me. And then it's also a Monday following the introduction of a key member of the football coaching staff. And a Monday, we're also a release of a new, exciting offseason hype video for year 2 of the Scott Satterfield era in the Big 12, Bearcats football in the Big 12. It's also a Monday where we get to get excited for a Kelsey Super Bowl yet again with the addition of one T-Swizzle Monday. It's also Monday where I am going to bring in the guys now, the pals, the crew, everyone back together again. That's right. Aaron Smith, Chad Brendel, Ryan Royer. Gentlemen, how are we?
I feel like that was like an old school JTM commercial. Remember Bronson Arroyo and Chris Welsh? We're together again.
Oh, baby. I like it.
Remember that, Aaron? I know you remember that.
I do. Ed sang it on PTP at one point.
A full
I just
song,
did
like
the
a
one
full
line.
song?
That's it.
I'm pretty sure it was the whole song.
Because isn't Bronson a singer? Arroyo?
Wow, yeah, something like that.
A rock star.
He sings. I don't know that I would call him a singer,
Right.
but he does sing.
Worthy enough for a rendition on the PTP, or I think that's pretty good, right, Aaron?
Rest in peace.
So.
But Chad, other than that, man, how are you? How are we?
I'm tired.
So sick and tired.
I don't think I'm sick. I just think with the Kansas trip and then the volleyball trip this weekend, and you squeeze that into like 6-7 days, I think my body is angry with me. I think is really what's actually happening.
And the roller coaster of emotions on Saturday. Oh man,
yeah.
How about that game? Oof. Can't wait to
so like got up this morning at 7 with Kelsey, and then didn't really have anything to do until like 9:30, 10 o'clock to go to the Tyson Vite press conference.
Shouts.
So I was just kind of laying there scrolling through TikTok, and I dozed off, and my alarm went off because I knew that was a possibility. And my body was just like, nah, fam, I'm not getting up. And I'm like, no, we got to go. My body was like, no, I don't think that's how this is going to work. My brain eventually won, but my body is still not very happy.
My mind's telling me no, but my body. Yeah. Gotcha.
Don't ever do that again.
One way. All right. Well, Aaron, sir, long time, 2-week layoff. Well, and by the way, Chad, nice sweatshirt. Digging it.
Thank you.
Yes, sir. But Aaron, how are we, sir?
Doing good. Ready to get the show on the road after a almost 2-minute intro before we even drop the overlay screen.
Oh, whoa. Already taking jabs.
Aaron's sassy tonight.
Jeez, oh Pete, man.
The only human interaction I have all day long is with a screaming toddler.
I had a rough day, and you know what? Maybe I stumbled a little bit. It wasn't my best opening. No need to throw dirt on top of an already sad man. Jeez. But how are we other than that?
I got him for you. I got him.
Thank you. But now for the big show. My man, Ryan Royer.
That you just gonna skip Aaron now? You don't care how Aaron is?
Well, I mean, we're going to go back.
Ready to get the show on the road.
There you go. Ready to get the show on the road. Okay, Royer, how are we?
Doing great. Missed you guys. Just got back from another trip myself, Chad. I was out in D.C. visiting my buddy. Me and my roommates went out there. Did a little trip. Did a ton of walking around, seeing all the stuff. But it is like the third time I've seen it all, so I wasn't as thrilled to be walking all over national capital. But yeah, I did a lot of drinking, not a lot of sleeping, so I'm in a lot of pain as well. But this is gonna help me get through it. Talking to my boys right here.
Does it all look the same?
What do you mean? Like the monuments and stuff?
Everything that you've already seen, yes.
Yeah, same shit, except now there's like different shit under construction. The Lincoln Monument was getting some sort of renovation or whatever they call that when they go back to it and
touch up.
Yeah, that's a good one. Where we went to the Washington Monument, the Lincoln, the White House, and then the Smithsonian National Museum or whatever.
Did you go inside of it?
We went inside.
Wow.
We went inside.
Isn't Rosetta Stone in there? Am I making that up? I'm probably making that up. Let's move on. There's something crazy in there. I thought. I don't know.
There's we saw like a boat that came over from England to when the colonies were first settled.
Oh.
It was like from the 1600s almost, I think, is when.
The Nina, the Pinta, or the Santa Maria?
Oh.
No, not it was like it's like a Philadelphia boat or New Philadelphia boat. I don't know. It was pretty cool, but
I mean, that is the peak level of excitement right there.
Who gives a shit about this stuff anyway? Let's talk some cats.
Yeah, I thought Aaron was throwing a little prestige worldwide on us there. Isn't that what it is, right? Prestige worldwide.
Yeah. Prestige, worldwide.
All right. Well, you know what? Prestige worldwide. You know what? That's a boat. But if you were driving a car and Prestige worldwide, you lost a little sight. You got a little something going on. You're looking at the monuments. You scuff up your tire. You do something that needs a little help with your car. You got to head over to Danco Joe at Danco Transmission and Auto Care. Danco Joe will get you hooked up, get you fixed up. It was great seeing Danco Joe and his brother down at the game against UCF. Fantastic seats. They were sitting right behind the basket, and I hear that they did a good job letting the players know who found out when to sit down. I think they were a part of that. So it's gonna be exciting to head over to Danco Transmission Auto Care and just talk to Joe about that event, and then he'll hook you up with either $10 off an oil change or 10% off your next fixing.
I talked to Joe before the game. He said once a year they splurge and get some seats down on the floor and have a nice enjoyable evening. And that happened to be Saturday. It was good to see him.
There we go. And you know what? I know UCF has some sort of way about them or whatnot, and we're going to dive into the conversation about them. But shouts to Danco Transmission and Auto Care one last time. It definitely feels like, I don't know if it's necessarily bad blood, but it feels like there's an extra bit of chippiness out on the court that I saw on Saturday. Obviously there's been a lot of aggressive physical play, but this game felt like there was more chippiness, more, outside of Dylan Disu getting into the fan base's face. This was a situation where it seemed like UCF players were really getting heavily into the game. You kind of feel a little bit of a familiarity between both sides and kind of just carrying that into the Big 12, where, let's be honest, UCF has done pretty doggone well in the Big 12, even though their record might not fully show that. They pulled out some big wins. But they didn't pull out this one. They looked like they might have been able to sneak one out, but a final of 68-57, 18 points in the second half for those Knights of Gold out of Florida Central. And I tell you what, man, it was the craziest first 3 minutes of a game all the way to the rest of the first half that I think I've ever seen in a basketball game of any sort. But it was a win nonetheless, a win that shows up as a quad 2 win right now, a win that is truly, it's actually a pretty big win when it comes down to breaking down the tournament resume and the tournament everything that goes into trying to get called into the big dance, and as close to a must-win as you could get at this point. Chad, Aaron, you guys already discussed it a bit on the nightcap after the game on Saturday night, but golly, that was a strange game, but one where the Bearcats at the end outlasted the Knights and came up with a net bonus 11-point win.
Was there a question in there?
Aaron,
Yeah,
it's a conversation, so you roll with it. I don't need to ask a question. This isn't an interview. This is a conversation.
I mean, it's a win they had to have. I mean, it wasn't so much as like a must win, I think, as it was a can't lose. Like, you can't lose that game because, you still have a gauntlet coming up.
Yeah.
So, I mean,
Wasn't
you
that
lose
like
that one.
Oh, sorry. Go
Go ahead.
The first unranked match.
Opponent?
Yeah. And now we got 3 more in a row after this.
After West Virginia, yeah.
After West Virginia, yeah. That's
it just
crazy,
doesn't
man.
stop. Like,
it's unbelievable. Yeah, so I agree with you, Chad, on that point that can't lose that one because it might be the easiest one you're going to get in a while, so to say.
Here's something I think that hasn't been touched on yet, Brent, that I think is important. That first half was extremely frustrating.
Yeah.
But if you're looking to keep it in perspective just a little bit, I still thought Cincinnati played pretty damn good defense through the first half.
Mm-hmm.
And UCF made a bunch of hand in their face, contested shots from distance, be it mid-range or 3. It wasn't a layup line. Guys weren't getting beat on backdoor cuts. They weren't zipping the ball and just, taking wide open rhythm 3s. And against some of the teams in the Big 12, that is sustainable for the other team. For UCF, it is not. Let's be honest. This is a team that shot 15.9% from the floor for an entire game against Houston. They were going at some point, like, I don't know, I think there was 4 or 5 minutes left in the first half, and they were shooting 68% from the floor against good defense.
Right.
And then they went ice cold to end the half. And then in the second half, they shot 6 of 29 from the floor, 20.7%. And they only made 3 threes, and they only went to the free throw line 4 times. That's how you hold a team to 18 points and a half. But I don't think the defense was considerably different half to half. Mm-hmm. I just think UCF made a bunch of shots early and then regressed to the norm. I mean, think about that, Brent. They were shooting 68% well into the first half, like almost at halftime. They're shooting 68%. And for the game, they ended up shooting 36.
Yeah, I mean, you're completely right. And, there's one player in particular, and Aaron mentioned him in the nightcap, is Marcellus Avery, who in the non-conference, you got to give him a little bit of look back in the non-conference. He did shoot 45% from 3. So it was kind of one of those, he's probably shooting a little bit out of his ability right now. But then once,
but how many did he actually have?
A lot. He was 4 for 9 one game, 3 for 6 another game, 3 for 4, 2 for 6, 3 for 5. So a good amount of volume. But coming into this to the game, it's one where he's only made 1 in all of Big 12 play, and he missed about 16. He was only averaging 3.5 coming into this game on Saturday night, and then yet again he found his shot a little bit. Knocked down the first 2.
What happened?
Well,
they had
2 players
starters
were out. Yeah,
that were out, and he was given an opportunity. Guess what? The kid's probably pissed that he played pretty well in the non-conference and wasn't in the rotation anymore. Yeah. Like, hey, don't forget about me over here.
Yeah.
And he came out hot.
he came out hot, and then he started to look like he was like trying to get a little like LeBron in his game, trying to break down people off the dribble.
Yeah,
but
that's when it fell apart. Maybe that's why he's
Yeah.
been on the bench.
right.
Like,
It was like all right.
bro.
All right, and then he airballed it through a little bit later. But it was one of those things where it's Wes even mentioned it in the postgame press conference, where it's like, okay, it seems like this team is actually kind of we were playing sound defense. They were hitting tough shots, and you look at another player, Sellers is a guy that just continuously just makes tough
really
shots.
Good.
Yeah,
he's really good.
I
like. I mean,
you put anyone. Was Cincinnati after him at all in the portal?
I don't remember.
Yeah, he's a guy that, I mean, anytime he touches it, you feel like he's got a bit of a threat to get to his spot that he wants to get to and make a shot. I mean, 12 points.
It almost felt like he was setting up tough shots.
Right.
Like he was trying to get to the tough shot and then hit it.
Yeah.
Damn, son.
It's crazy. But yeah, I mean, Roy, were you able to take in this game at all on Saturday night?
No, sir. I've been bad lately. I'll tell you what. I'm always doing something on the, like I was in DC. We were out fucking running around, and stuff. And they don't have priorities of Bearcat basketball games at the various spots we were at.
Yeah, you'd have to.
You know what works great, Ryan?
What?
You got those earbuds, and then you get the game on your phone. And you tell people, I'm important, and I got shit to do. I got to watch I got to educate the people. Talk to the people.
I know.
But well, let me set the plate for you a little bit, Roy. Okay. So one team was up 15-6, 3 minutes and 20 seconds into the game.
Okay.
That team was down 12 at halftime.
Yeah, that team ended up down 12 at halftime.
So it was a roller coaster.
Oh my gosh.
Okay.
And then that team outscored the other team 41-18 in the second half.
Wow. It sounds like I missed a good one, man. What's it?
Trying to remember. It was the worst of times. It was the best of times.
Yeah.
What's the Will Ferrell thing when he's yelling about emotions? Is that from the other guys?
No, I'm in a glass case of emotion.
Yeah. Is that
the bad man who punted Baxter?
Yeah.
Anchorman.
That's what it was. Yeah.
Throw a burrito.
Literally what it was. Literally. Oh, Joe. Don't you worry, buddy. I wore one last week.
Whoa!
Danco Joe.
Look at the drip, the Danco drip, baby.
Little Danco drip. But yeah,
your head is so big.
It looks like a reservoir tip on the top of your head.
We got a biscuit head over here.
It's actually not that. There we go, Danco.
Look, as someone with a huge head, you have a huge head.
I got you, Joe. I got you.
You know what they say, Brent?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Well, I mean,
you can't have a big brain if you don't have a big head.
Yes, sir.
Half of it's true. Admit, I thought the same thing. That's why I put in. I don't know. I'll figure it out. Joe,
Brent about to rob an Ameristop.
No, I'll put on the other one here soon. But yeah.
Oh boy.
So,
about to rob an Ameristop. That's outstanding.
Yeah, I mean, it was games. Some games are tale of two halves. Some games are broken up into segments. This was like the epitome of like winning the first 4 minutes and then going ice cold and then making adjustments in the second half, finding a way to win. One of those key things that had to happen was aggression was amped up in the second half. Downhill attacking was up in the second half. Some highlight reel plays were up in the second half.
Transition was up in the second half.
Transition was up in the second half. You guys kind of touched on it. Chad, you mentioned Newman quite a lot, and Aaron, you backed it up. The warrior that is John Newman. Let's go ahead and put that fire, that zest that the both of you brought, and then I kept into the BBP about John Newman.
When's the last time you remember John Newman getting caught on a screen? And he's guarding the other team's best player every night,
Yeah.
Every second he's on the floor. When do you really remember John Newman like getting caught up and his guys just catching and taking a wide open shot?
He does
That
a great
man is
job,
an animal
like
defensively.
slithering past it.
Well,
You know what I mean?
When was the last time you were frustrated with anything he's done on the floor, for that matter, outside of the missed free throw at the end of the game? Like, that's the only thing that I can think of this entire season where I've been mad yelling at the TV at John Newman. Outside, I can name probably a handful of every other player on this roster that I've been.
It's an interesting case study, right? Like, because let's be honest, if this is the John Newman we got last year, and he's on that team with David DeJulius and Landers Nolly, and you have that stopper, that's a tournament team. Like, they win enough games to get in the tournament. I'm wholly convinced of that.
Especially,
But
in the American, especially,
But I don't even want to think about what this team would look like without John Newman.
Yeah. You know what? And I think Aaron made this comment.
Go on.
You're starting to see it become infectious. Where I think CMOS had some really good defensive possessions on Saturday.
He had a couple of his best individual defensive possessions.
Right.
Like, they isolated him. They were trying to take advantage of him, and he got the stop. Yeah, I would agree with that completely.
And you've even seen Dan really take a step up on his defense as well. And
well, you know what we don't talk about enough defensively? Day-Day is an animal. Against the other team's point guard.
I think that's just an innate thing with Day-Day coming in. I
brought him up after the on the nightcap the other night.
I'm saying we're not talking about it enough. Like, he's another one. That's why this team has been so hard to score on. Is because Newman and Day-Day don't get caught on screens. Like, you just don't hit them. Yeah. They go right over the top of it, right through it, and they're right back in position within a step or two. Like, there is just no room for comfortable offense when those two are on the floor.
And then you've got bigs that clean the glass after missed shots. That's a recipe to a good defense.
So tell me if I'm crazy.
You are.
I think Aziz Bandago, obviously. I think Aziz Bandago is worth whatever you could possibly imagine just on his prowess on the defensive glass. It feels like when he is on the floor, it's one shot and done. Whether he gets it or he wipes somebody out or whatever, wipes somebody out. I mean, he boxes them out and doesn't allow them access to the ball, and somebody else comes in and gets it. But just for his defensive rebounding alone, that guy is worth whatever it costs to get him, because they are one of the elite deep rebounding teams in the country, and they are at their best when he is on the floor.
I agree wholeheartedly. There's no doubt about that. He, even to a fault, you saw a possession late in the Oklahoma game in the second half where another player who is really good defensive rebounder, and Victor Locken, they're both going after the rebound at the same time. And, it was Aziz accidentally knocked it out of bounds. But, it's a situation where you look at Aziz Bandago, and I'm going to pull this up real quick. He's not quite available yet I don't know what the game threshold is. I'm actually surprised he's not available to show up on the rankings, but
some of it is because of the back injury. Like, he missed additional time.
Defensive rebounding percentage, if you would take his numbers at 28.2%, he would be at 14th in the country in all out of all players in defensive rebounding percentage. That's crazy. And he high points it. He can aggressively go and get boards on both sides. And he's a guy that is not afraid. His back obviously had that issue earlier in the season, but he still is going recklessly after every rebound, just aggressively and pulling down at pretty much everyone. And then you throw in Dan offensively on the other side. Oh, yeah.
Usually guys like that are, because they're so big, they're area only. Like, they rebound their area, but they don't move well enough to go get it if it's on the other side of the rim. These can wipe you out on the left side and then go get it on the right side. And that's one of the things you have to do to be an elite defensive rebounder is you just happen to be like when the shot goes up, you are where you are, right? You can't only be, if you're going to be elite, you can't only be able to rebound when the ball comes off in your general direction.
Right.
You got to go get it. And Aziz can go get it, man.
He absolutely can. And, before we move on from Newman too much, I'm going to bring up what Danco Joe's bringing up here. That Newman dunk is up there as one of the best. One of the best, period.
Did you see it, Ryan?
Out there.
You did?
I did. I mean, that was just go from the top of the key all the way down and just yam it on someone. I know you guys have been raving about him, but I think he's like the perfect example of like a program guy, a guy who does all the right things, and it's just like finally getting his chance to be healthy, and he's just producing in every level. I think he's our most valuable player.
He's our best player. I think Dan is pushing. Like Dan is entering the conversation, but from start of the season to now, John Newman had built a considerable lead as the best player and MVP, Ryan. It's both.
Yep.
I think you could give Dan offensive player thus far, but we're close to it.
And John averaging, well, he's right. I think they're right at about the same, aren't they?
No, I think Dan's higher. But not by much, maybe by like 1 or 2 points.
Okay.
Dan's got 11-4.
But anyhow.
Dan had 11-4 coming into this game. John had 9-5. That's what it's showing.
Okay.
Dan's at 11-9. John is 10 flat. So
there you go.
2 points per game.
Yeah. The thing though, the reason I say that is John has been more consistent. There's been less of like 27-1.
Right. Yeah.
Where you end up averaging 14 a game.
I mean, we had Norse Dan, we had Stetson Dan, we had Baylor Dan, then we had Birthday Dan. So yes, it's kind of spread out like that pretty evenly.
Unfortunately, Kansas Dan didn't become a thing.
Kansas Dan was close.
If they won, Kansas Dan would have been the best Dan.
Kansas Dan might have been like NBA draft people chirping Kansas Dan, but man, that first half was something to watch. And even in this one, the first 3 minutes, Dan had 3 very impactful plays in that first little 3 minutes of the game.
He had a 3, he had an and 1. Well, he had 8 points in the first 3 minutes of the game.
It was insane. But yeah, the Newman dunk, and yes, I'm going to give Newman his flowers because John was one of those guys where in the offseason, you just not that he was a question mark about his playing ability. It was just the whole injury thing, and I'm not going to.
Oh no, right now. People were questioning his playing ability.
Well, I'm talking about personally myself.
I'm just saying there were plenty out there that were like, even if he's healthy,
right,
he's not good enough to help this team.
Well, I think you saw in the one season where he did play how much he just had an impact defensively in aggression and just diving for loose balls, kind of just that intangible thing. And I mean, any team will take that, but. You just constantly were thinking about, is he ever going to fully be healthy? I tell you what, he is out there, springy as all get out, tough as all get out. Plays like he's got a constant chip on his shoulder. So, and Aaron, I agree. It does seem like he's kind of pulled back a little bit on shooting his 3 too much, which I don't know if that was kind of by his own recognition and thought of maybe don't force things, but. He's playing within himself, and he's playing at a very, very high level. Yeah.
I mean, winning games, that's what it's all about. So whatever it takes. The craziest thing is we talked about it already, but with this team being down 12, winning by 11, they're figuring out ways to win games that just don't make sense to me.
You just dropped the worst 8-line cliche I've ever heard. Winning, whatever it takes. Got it. Got to go get the win. I mean, it was like the coach, right at the end. Winning, whatever it takes. Let's go. 1, 2, 3. Team.
Yeah, that's called filler to formulate the point that you want to make. You're in the industry, Come on, man.
I mean, yeah. You got to do what you got to do, whatever it takes. It is what it is.
That's handling adversity right there. But yes, John he's been great. He's been way better than I think anyone truly imagined, other than maybe Wes Miller and the coaching staff. And yeah, well, no, better than you imagined, though.
No, this is who I was talking about. John was supposed to be
last
year.
Right, but I mean,
we saw this all last offseason. The only question this offseason that I had was how long was it? How many games was it going to take for him to trust his body? And it took 2. And game 3, he hit the ground running. I know, but I just mean overall, the way he defends, the way he puts his body on the line.
Oh yeah. And he, they do that little baseline out of bounds play for him, where he finds him open, and you could easily just lay that in real fast and get 2 points, but he goes up and he dunks it every time with 2 hands.
Yep.
That's just momentum. That's just getting the crowd involved, getting your teammates excited.
It's energy.
It's energy. Yeah. And we do have to give also some flowers to Rayvon Griffith. If you watch the replay of the game, he is the first player up on the bench every time, cheering everyone on, especially on that dunk. It finds him just doing something crazy over there. So shouts to him as well. But I want to talk a little bit more about Dan. The fact that Dan is, has 21 points on his 21st birthday, and yet Wes is still saying Dan is just scratching the surface. I'm honestly afraid of what the rest of the Big 12 of the country might see if Dan finally breaks through the surface, because this scratching of the surface is pretty amazing. He scored over 20 points 4 times this season. The rest, there's 4 other players, Day Thomas, John Newman, Vic Locken, who have scored 20 or above at least once. Only Day Thomas has done it twice. Dan has done it 4 times. It's just you're starting to see Dan, who's confident in himself. His efficiency numbers are up. He's not making a bunch of careless decisions. He's knocking down shots at timely spots in the game. But yes, the consistency is going to be the main thing. Can he carry it over to Wednesday? Will be obviously a telltale sign. But it's a team as well where Odi Oguama off the bench has a big game as well. I think you can't really see too much about how good certain players really stepped up when needed to in the certain times, especially Dan, especially Odi. A lot of things to like coming out of the win on Saturday.
You're seeing less and less of WTF Dan, right? It still pops up a couple times a game, as he is still figuring it out. But it's the same thing I talked about at the beginning of the season. However long it takes Dan to be a comfortable, high major, top of the roster scorer is however long it's going to take this team to begin to reach its potential.
Right.
Guess what? He started doing that right at the beginning of Big 12 play, and this team has felt like it is on its way to reaching its potential since then. He's that important. He can do things nobody else on the roster can do with the ball in his hands. He's got offensive skills that nobody can replicate.
Yep.
And the better and better he gets, and the more he genuinely believes, I'm one of the best players in this league, the better the program is going to be.
Right. Yeah. I mean, you saw the one pass that he had on that fast break, Aziz was wide open. If he gets that pass in there, and I'm sure, as times continue to wear on and he just continues to get more confidence in every facet of his game, that pass will become easier. And Aziz gets a dunk on that fast break. So, it's just simply just getting more and more bows of confidence on top of things. Aaron, thoughts on CMOS and Day. Those 2 guys, I tell you what, yet again, getting more open looks. CMOS got one to fall. But I tell you what, when those open looks start to fall and they both still seem to be confident in what they have, it's going to be pretty scary because I mean, you watch Day in pregame warmups and before halftime, and I know you can't really put much credence into that as well at all, but he's knocking down these shots. Like it's the threes are falling when there's not a game situation. So it's there. And the CMOS, of course, every single miss that he has, it seems like it's literally just right there to falling through. I feel like there's going to be a game coming up soon where one of the two, or if not both, start to catch a little bit of fire from the field.
I'm just glad CMOS can pass the ball because otherwise I'd be wondering why he was getting 30-plus minutes a game. But that said, he's clearly been struggling to shoot. This was a game where he's realized that he's in the F word that Chad used that we're not allowed to say. And
I didn't say that.
Brad Chendall, sorry. He only ends up 2 of 5 and 1 of 3 from 3. He did have a clutch floater down the stretch.
Yeah.
That said, he's still not afraid to shoot, but I think he finally realized I can't be shooting up 10, 14 shots in a game if I'm only going to be making 3. So I was happy to see him know his own report card and or scouting report rather, and just kind of keep it contained until he feels more confident in that shot. That said,
that pass to Odie was sick.
On the other side of the coin, though, with regards to Day-Day's been playing, again, not one of his finer offensive shooting nights. 9 points, 3 of 11, 0 for 4 from 3. There were some threes that he had to take. There were at the end of the clock. He's getting past the ball late in the shot clock. And what else are you going to do? That's not a shot right now that I don't feel he's looking for. But how do you get out of these shooting woes? You have to try and shoot your way out. We've seen him make these shots, especially early in the non-con when he was wide open, but it's not been one of his it's not been friendly to him in the conference play. That said, he's getting better and better as a passer as this conference slate has continued on, and we've started to see the assist numbers in turn go up, and that's clearly been a point of emphasis for this offense.
Yeah. And defensively, he's a dog.
Yeah.
D-O-G, dog.
Yep. Well, yeah, and just his ball handling, breaking, being the one-man press breaker is pretty fun to watch. And like who's that dribbler on the Harlem Globetrotters back in the day? Was it Curly or I don't know, something that he could just dribble his way out of anything?
Curly Neal was like the ball trick guy.
Okay. Whoever it was that was really good at handling the ball, he looks like that when the other team goes with the full court press. He's just dipping and diving and getting through everything.
Oh, they would start to send a double at him, and he would just be right past it,
right around him,
dribble right past the guy that was running at him.
He is fast, man. He's got explosion like none else.
Would you say elite speed?
I'd say above elite speed. How about that?
He's the fastest guy with the ball since Devin Downey.
Oh. A blast from the past. Skipping over the old, which shouts to Mikey Saunders and his new place, McNeese State. They're one of the best low to somewhat majors, but yes, that is mid-major, whatever. Right now, Day is a blur when he has the ball on a fast break.
You guys know I was a big Mike Saunders guy. Loved his family, knew his mom, knew his dad, knew his little brother.
Right.
Like big Mike Saunders guy. He is not up there with Devin Downey and Day Thomas. He's in a tier below that, and that's okay. A lot of good players in that tier.
Oh, yeah.
Day can hit the gas and like start at high speed right by him.
So Bearcats are 3-4 in the Big 12. Obviously, have been in every game. Obviously, had chances to win multiple of those games. Went through the gauntlet that Royer mentioned earlier. They are dead last in conference play in both 3-point shooting and free throw percentage shooting. So, it's something that tells you they've struggled mightily in those two departments and have been in every single game. That means that defense has been elite. It means rebounding has been elite. Number 2, defensively throughout conference play and defensive efficiency. And then, of course, right there on the top with rebounding, battling against these bigger Big 12 squads. So Wednesday is West Virginia. Road trip to West Virginia, a team that is very interesting if you take a look at them. But a team that, they've added back. It looks like in their most recent game, Jesse Edwards returned from an injury. They kind of are easing him back. The big man transfer from Syracuse, who really is their best player if he's really going. Raekwon Battle is a scoring machine who got his eligibility when Jamil Reynolds got his during that whole process. Kirk Creesa is a name that everyone's familiar with Arizona. I tell you what,
they have talent. Make no mistake, they have talent.
Yeah.
They've not played well consistently, but they beat Kansas. They have shown that they can jump up and get you if you let them get comfortable and have a good night.
I saw they were out rebounded by Oklahoma State. It was Oklahoma State's first win of the season on the road. They were out rebounded by 7, and I believe Oklahoma State is the worst rebounding team in the Big 12. So,
first Oklahoma State's first Big 12 win.
Yeah, first Big 12 win. Yes, correct. So, you know what? It's a game where if you want to continue riding on this high that the second half kind of built for all the Bearcat fans and really helped Aaron's wallet from all accounts that I've heard. Got to go out and got to win on the road at West Virginia.
He made 7 bets. He won $12.83.
Hey, that's
5 bets, and it was a little better than that. But
I'm just messing with you.
Is that half a pack of diapers these days? Oh, man, I have it.
He won 4 diapers.
Aye.
They got to wash them.
Crazy
expensive.
Oh, wow. Look who it is, Bob. Bob's showing up in the comments.
Robert!
How are we, Bob? My man. But yeah, so it's gonna be an exciting game. And hopefully one where you gotta win this one, right, Chad? It's a 7-point Ken Palm spread right now. It's one where you most likely, I think it should stay quad 3, quad 2, maybe.
It's way too far out to know.
We're
nowhere close.
We're in February, but yes, it's an important game.
Yeah, there's 7 more weeks, 6 more weeks of the regular season.
Yeah,
that's 12 games. Everybody's essentially 11, 12 games left in league play.
You definitely don't want to see the spreadsheet I've made.
If you have the time, more power to you.
Hey, it was
more power to you.
It was Saturday morning. I felt the need and got it done. But yeah,
Saturday morning we were driving. That was the day before we left. That's right. Yeah. I know you didn't work on anything during the ride to Kansas City.
No.
Just sitting there watching football in the van the whole time.
You're a full week behind, brother. This past Saturday when you were in Indy at the volleyball.
Oh, that didn't count.
By the way, that trip to Kansas,
my brain doesn't count that.
Trip to Kansas was top notch. Bob, it was great seeing you.
Sleet. There
we go. I love it.
You're the best. Bob. You're the best.
Aaron, quick thoughts on West Virginia. I'm kind of filibustering before Royer comes back so that we can riff with him.
I don't know. As much as people said that UCF was a must-win, I feel like this is an opportunity to steal a game on the road, and these are the ones that I'm not going to call this a must-win game, but this is a huge opportunity for this team to put themselves in a good position stealing one on the road.
There aren't many left that you feel like, I think they got a pretty good shot to go,
Right.
Kansas State's tough at home. Houston, you don't have a lot. Oklahoma, TCU, teams that have already beat you at your place. there's not a lot of meat on the bone when it comes to going out and stealing road wins.
Houston.
Right. I said, yeah, Houston was up there.
Yeah, I mean,
Ugh.
only road games left: West Virginia, Texas Tech, UCF, TCU,
Texas Tech.
Houston, and Oklahoma.
Yeah, those are all the ones I just named. Nailed it.
Maybe you can pay back Oklahoma on the road, but
I think
yeah, going and winning at TCU, I don't feel warm and fuzzy about. Now you get John Newman on Emmanuel Miller, so I like at least some of that matchup, much like I did the first time. But
yeah,
winning there after you already beat them once,
right?
Good luck.
One quick thing: the whole Rothstein tweet today about CJ caused a bit of a stir amongst the fans. It's like the whole getting ready to think about coming back to practice or something. I think it's just weird wording, if I'm being honest.
Don't say anything.
Right. Right.
CJ Frederick has not returned to practice, but the coaches hope that he's getting close. How about that?
Yeah. He farms people interacting with him on Twitter. I don't know why anybody's surprised by anything John Rothstein does.
I know, but I hate him. I have him muted. I don't ever see anything he tweets.
Yeah, well, luckily there was a bunch of other national college basketball personalities that found themselves on the X quite a lot today to somewhat overshadow the whole what was Rothstein talk about side. So yeah, I think he's in the clear. But it's been interesting, and I can't wait to dive in after the BPP. But as far as that goes, huge win against UCF. You know what, those guys, you could tell the UCF players wanted that one really bad. Is one last thing I'm going to say about it.
Guess what? They see the Cincinnati the same way Cincinnati sees them. We've got to win this one.
Right. The crazy thing is, Chad, and I can say this now that the game has passed. If UCF won that game, UCF is now in the bubble conversation. They've got one bad loss. They've got a handful of really good wins. And that Cincinnati game, that is a top-tier, big-time win at Cincinnati.
It's a Tier 1 road win.
Yeah, Tier 1 road win. They've got the win against Kansas. They got the win at Texas. That's 3 quad 1 wins. So, the fact that Cincinnati was able to really buckle in, get the win.
Kansas was at home, but it's still
quad 1,
Kansas top 10. So.
Right. So, you know what? That's a big win. Now West Virginia's next. It just doesn't stop. West Virginia, who you think is like an easy rollover win, guess what? They've got a really good roster. Really good roster. And one that, as Chad has already mentioned, beat Kansas earlier this year. So here we go. You guys want to timestamp this, and then we'll get on to our next segment?
That is a timestamp brought to you by Quick Paper Supply, your local and family-owned restaurant supply company for all your non-food products. They service over 150 restaurants with weekly low minimum next day deliveries. They provide a wide range of food service products from to-go containers, cups, custom printed products, eco-friendly, and much more. They also have cleaning and restroom supplies for all your janitorial needs. Call Nick 513-470-2029 and reference Bearcats for 20% off your first month of purchases. I saw Nick for the first time Saturday, Brent. He was just to the right of us.
Really?
He was sitting just to the right of us, and he sent me a text, and I look over there, and he gave me the head nod. I'm like,
hey,
what's up, bro? So, yeah, I saw Nick for the first time.
I love how quick your paper supply, baby. Quick paper supply. All right. This new segment is going to have
an old segment. We're bringing it back.
Yeah, it's an old, but going to be new. But it's going to be fun. And next week, we're going to be able to tell you a little bit more about it. This is a little bit of a tease before.
I'll tell them.
Oh, okay. Go ahead. Roll with
it. I think we're in a place where I can say what's happening.
Okay.
We're still finalizing things, but we are entering an agreement with New Riff Distillery down by the levee. And that segment that used to be Riffin' with Royer is now going to be New Riff in with Royer. Brought to you by the New Riff Distillery.
Gonna have that new little slang with like the apostrophe. Gonna make it look like
New Riff in with Royer.
With Royer. It's gonna be really aesthetically pleasing.
You're not a bourbon guy though, are you?
I do like bourbon. It's just
Okay.
whenever when I'm going out, it's the tequila. But if I do enjoy me some bourbon, I just don't
All right.
take.
Well,
Man, I
we'll
tell
see
you
if we
what, Chad and I we were not going to let the other one stop with it, as long as he was pouring another glass, I was pouring one with him, and we did not stop until we said, "All right, got to go to bed."
There's about that much left. It was really good, wasn't it?
It was good.
Where were you guys?
We were in Kansas. I took the bottle. Did I show you the bottle that they gave me with the BCJ logo? I think I
No,
showed
you never
that.
showed. You told me about it.
Yeah. We took that to Kansas and popped it open.
Okay.
So a bottle
Had
of
yourself
malted rye at like 12:30 in the morning.
Yep.
Let's go.
Our friend Bob had some. Correct.
Yeah. It was good. It was really good. So I'm
Was that
excited.
the dude in the back of the
Yeah,
van?
Bob's the guy in
Oh,
the back.
yeah.
Bob favorite.
Beast
Give
Bob.
shouts to Bob Royer.
Shout out, Bob.
Roy, you probably
Come on,
know
man.
Bob's wife. Do you know Phyllis? With the short hair.
You've mentioned her before.
I guarantee
me.
you've met Phyllis before.
Yeah.
Bob just kind of hangs out in the background. That's why he's the best.
He's a
He's
beast.
the perfect road trip guy. Like, he doesn't need to be the lead character. He's content picking his spots and executing those spots at a high level.
Let's go. Sounds like me back in my glory days of UC.
Unless you're playing ECU.
Oh yeah.
Had
to steal the spotlight for one brief moment of my life.
Hell yeah, baby.
One shining moment, some might say.
One make-a-wish.
One make-a-wish.
John Cena actually came down to the sideline after that.
Oh, but you couldn't see him.
No.
All right, Roy, let's riff, baby.
You want to riff?
Let's riff.
You riffing?
We riffing.
All right. So I think, being that I am a football lover, I think we should start off with our new DC, Mr. Tyson. Woo! So I'm wondering your guys' takes on what are the biggest changes we're going to see in the defense with him, and what position group do we see as showing the largest improvement going through next year compared to this year?
Brent, you want to go?
I mean, Chad, you were at the press conference.
I want your opinion. I don't have to always go first.
So the biggest change, I think, Royer, and I'm not going to get too much into X's and O's, but it does seem like he's got an understanding where, correct me if I'm wrong, Chad, but this is his first official defensive coordinator role on this level, right?
He's been a head coach at the D3 level,
right? Head coach at the D3 level, and then kind of was a linebackers coach at Iowa State for the last 9 years or 8 years that he was saying. I think that the main thing is, and I don't know, Roy, you can correct me if I'm wrong with this as well, but I feel like sometimes defensive coordinators have the thought where they've got a scheme and people are going to run their scheme no matter what, and that they're going to try and make it work, and if it doesn't work, they're going to keep pushing and finding ways to make the scheme work. From what I've gathered from the press conference today, and then also just kind of seeing things as well, I think there's a scheme in mind, but I think it's kind of an open interpretation to actually look at the personnel and see the best way to make that scheme work with the personnel, if that makes sense. So,
yeah,
I think
it does. I saw his quote on that he was open into watching film and kind of evaluating his players to see what kind of defense he wants to run. But I don't know his whole defensive history, how his defense has evolved. Whereas if you look at Fickle, Fickle ran 4 down his whole career, and then all of a sudden he went, 3 down now. This is our thing. This is our defense, and this is what he hangs his coat on now. So I'm not sure if Coach Tyson has had any bit of that kind of transition.
Yes,
but
he has.
Okay, that's good.
So they essentially
changing. So you got to change your scheme up too. I mean, this offensive college football is just always on the move.
Matt Campbell essentially created this version of the 3-3-5, which instead of having 2 corners, 2 safeties as a nickel, and a nickel has 2 corners and 3 safeties. And they're aggressive. They're not crazy aggressive like, some of Brian Brown's defenses were. They are aggressive. They will get after you a little bit. But it's just another version of putting a more athletic body on the field to defend some of the stuff in this conference. I think the biggest question is going to be if they, for them to successfully run this, is there that hybrid safety on the roster that can be the third safety that can make plays at the line of scrimmage, cover smaller guys? Like if you're eliminating a nickel, that safety is going to have to be one of the guys covering slots and tight ends and running backs and and then still being aggressive downhill because they're playing closer to the line, still being aggressive downhill to make plays in the running game and be used as a blitzer and things
kind of like our old buddy Mr. Pace.
Yeah,
that type of play
similar, but he didn't embrace it potentially he could have, and I think it cost him. But yeah, something similar to do they have a guy that fits that mold? Because if they don't, it's going to be tough.
I think that the area that they're going to be most improved at is preparedness. And by that, I mean the fact that Vite has been in this conference for, I believe this is going to be his 9th season in this conference. 8, obviously, with the Iowa State there. He's seen this conference through and through. You also have, not necessarily by hiring him, does this improve that, but you're also going to have just another year now for this staff in place to where they're just having more familiarity with this roster. And I think that's all going to be nothing but a good thing between the two things there. And I think that this team defensively is going to be far more prepared this upcoming season than they were at any point last season.
Is there a reason why he was at Iowa State for 8 years?
He just had a great thing going with Campbell, and
he was like a Campbell rider.
He ended up as assistant head coach. Like they elevated him. It wasn't as if he was just linebackers coach there.
Ryan, for 3 years, all of his linebackers were all conference.
Okay.
3 consecutive years. Every starting linebacker was all conference for 3 consecutive years.
So I guess you kind of answered it by saying he was a Matt Campbell guy. He loved playing for him. But when I first heard how long he was there for, it was like, well, why didn't he ever get upgraded to a DC somewhere else? Like, why was it
it's
8
just
years?
Comfortable, probably.
Yeah. You think he was the one turning him down or not interviewing?
I don't know enough about him at this point to tell you that confidently. It seemed like for whatever reason he was with him before Iowa State, came with him to Iowa State, and just kind of made a spot there.
Yeah, I got you.
One
I would kind of throw that out there because that was what I was curious about.
One other Ty Royer that can't go without being mentioned is just his ties to Ohio. He doesn't have the direct Cincinnati tie, but I know that was one thing that was mentioned numerous times in the press conference, and another thing that obviously Iowa State recruited Cincinnati and Ohio really well. So I think that's another additional thing that goes into it. Obviously, recruiting is a lot different now, but
he's going to know the high school coaches. He's going to know the people he's got to deal with.
Right, Ohio.
He's from Logan, Ohio, which is about 25 minutes from where I'm at, about 10-15 minutes north of Athens.
There you go. Swing by and say what's up to all the Loganeers out there.
I don't know that that's what they're called.
We'll ride with it.
Ohio, we all know how rich Ohio is in talent, and knowing those hot spots, knowing how important it is, I am pretty happy about that, because one thing I think Ohio produces really well, I think it's defensive players. You kind of see the trend nowadays is the coasts and like South and out West produce a lot of good skill players. But I think when it comes down to like tough ass, good ass defensive players, I think Ohio, like you're talking about, a good safety, good linebackers, good interior D linemen that are going to be reliable. I really like what Ohio and that this kind of like close Midwest, the surrounding Midwestern area can do. But I just get nervous sometimes, being that the bulk of the team is on their third defense, different defense. That kind of makes me nervous sometimes. But like you mentioned, with him being a guy who knows the conference, he's had his scheme kind of locked down in his mind. That does reassure me slightly. So when I think he says, "Oh, we got to evaluate," blah blah blah, like what we really want to run, we're like, "Come on, man, we know you're gonna run your shit." You should run your shit.
As I said to Brent before the show, I would be surprised if they're not in a 3-3-5, safety look.
We got to give him props for he said all the right things. So he
did. I'm just saying, like, that's a system that he helped create.
Yeah,
I would expect that's going to get the first crack. Maybe they don't have the people for it, and they do have to change it up. But I would guess it gets a long look before they get to that point, is what I would guess.
When you saw the portal additions, there's a bulk of safeties,
Sure.
And I don't know if it's kind of luck falling into that scenario with, because obviously all those additions happened before the hire, but they've added depth in that safety room, that's for sure.
Which might not be depth if there's 3 starters.
Right. Well, then they just added talent, period.
I know. I'm just saying, if there's 2 safeties, you think you got some depth there. If there's 3 starting safeties,
we need y'all to play.
Yeah. Everybody going to have to be ready.
Right. I'm loving the Riffing with Reuter segment. I just can't wait. The man behind the curtain. Where you at, Reuter?
Oh, sorry. I was just doing something. Is there a position group you think is going to improve? Do you think that's safety position, or you think that safety position is going to be kind of
is this question 2?
Maybe not as
or
ready?
Is this question 2?
Or two of the first question was like,
all right, I'm just making sure we haven't moved on.
Is going to look. Was kind of how do you think we're going to look versus, and then on top of it, like who do you think is going to kind of succeed the most in this new look position?
I mean, I think there's so many new defensive backs, and rightfully so, that like it's going to take a little bit watching everybody and like getting my eyes on everybody. You can look at tape and how they looked in another system, but I just don't think that, for me, I don't love that. It's like I'm gonna expertly speak on it, watching them play somebody else's defense. So I think that's going to be a great conversation in the spring of like who looks like they belong. I think they're going to be pretty solid at linebacker. And you brought in like a linebacker expert, essentially. Did they find some guys off the edge that can get after the quarterback?
I was going to say between the defensive line, especially along the edge, and the secondary, they both have to make a step forward. So whichever one takes the bigger leap, good on you. But they both have to be improved.
Yeah, I kind of mentioned this at a previous BVP, but just the fact that it seems like you've added just talented safeties to that room. I think that will help out the corner position as well. Maybe you see a good rise and progression out of a Jordan Young, but the main room that I'm looking at, obviously, what you're kind of getting with the D line. Maybe Bartlett is kind of that guy that really adds that pass rushing element off the D line as well. But the linebacker room, like you're saying, Chad, I think there's 2 potential stars in that room that were both just young players getting a wealth of experience in Thompson and Dingle. So
you guys know I love me some Jonathan Thompson. Not that I don't love Dingle, I do, but Jonathan Thompson from the day he got to campus was a name that I was like, man, this kid has a knack for being around the ball.
Oh, well, high school, he was ready to blow up, and then he got hurt his senior season. and was out for a while. So yeah, I'm excited to see what he does with those linebackers as well.
All right, Ryan. Number 2. Ryan.
Sorry, I was pulling it up.
Are you
Eggs.
eating? What are
Eggs.
you eating? What are you eating? Just
I'm
turn your
eating.
camera on.
I haven't fucking ate today. I'm starving.
Can I see your? What are you eating?
Right.
Just show us.
Ryan.
I was eating popcorn. Homemade popcorn.
Eat during the basketball segment. We like if this you can't eat during Riffin with Royer. This is your segment.
I'm done now. I was trying to hold off, but I
Okay.
couldn't. And I was like, God damn.
Homemade popcorn? Like did someone cook it up on the stove?
I got an air popper.
An
Air pop it in the little machine. You ever seen one?
No way.
Yeah.
Does it
my
turn out
girlfriend
pretty
got it
good?
for me for Christmas. Yeah, it's great.
Wow. Okay.
Shout out Jamie.
Do you put your own butter in it?
I just
Are
do
you
like
not a
olive
butter
oil
guy?
spray and then like some flavored seasoning. Today I did like some
Oil
buffalo
spray.
and ranch.
Ooh,
It was good.
Royer. All right.
Yeah, we getting after it over here, man.
Shouts to Jamie.
Yeah, shouts out to the girl, man.
Shouts out to Jamie.
She's the
I was gonna
best.
say my girl loves stovetop popcorn. That's like her.
I haven't had stovetop. Is it legit?
It's good. It's really
Okay.
good.
I'm gonna have to try it.
Yeah. All right. Part 2. Roll.
Okay, so we'll segue over to basketball. My expertise. I got the question for what do you think the Bearcats have to do? How do we end up winning 2 out of 3 after West Virginia? What needs to happen? Is it the 3-point shot? Do we have to just ride that to go steal a game?
I don't think they don't have to ride it. I think they just need to get back to the mean. Like this, look.
Yeah.
This is not a team that's gonna like be elite. A 3-point shooting. This is not a team that's
in conference play.
Yeah, like if they can get back up to 33, 34%, like if you jump 10% game over game with as close as Cincinnati's games have been, you're going to be able to steal a couple wins. If they keep shooting at 24%, 28%, whatever, things get a lot more difficult. Like they don't need to be great, but they need to be 3 of 9 instead of 1 of 12. I don't think that's a lot to ask. It's not like 3 of 9 is lighting the nets on fire.
I mean,
UConn made 17 threes when they beat X by 100 yesterday.
Gosh, I love that stat so much, but then you hear the final part of that stat. The largest margin of victory for a UConn game since the 2008 Big East season, and I'm just going to leave it there.
Since Mick was playing with a bunch of JUCOs.
I know, gosh, it just why does it have to revolve back to that? Whatever. But yeah, Aaron, you're shaking your head. I see. Answer riffing with Royer.
To win 2 of 3 after West Virginia, you're looking at Texas Tech, hosting Houston, hosting Iowa State. Ugh. To win 2 of 3, you don't turn the ball over.
Those are essentially the top 3 teams in the Big 12. Like
Pretty
in
much.
the standings. Texas Tech,
That's
Houston,
what I was
Iowa
saying.
State. They are the top 3.
If we can get 2, it's like this is huge. Like we obviously did something that was completely different to what we've been doing, and we haven't been doing
Ryan,
that, is what I'm saying.
But
it's
being
also
different
why
would be
you have to win tomorrow or Wednesday.
being different though would be 30 to 35% from 3, would be 70% from the free throw line, would be 10 or less turnovers. Those things would all be different.
Yeah, because if we drop West Virginia, I mean, it's not like that. It'll like we could easily drop all 3 of those games after it. Like that's how good those teams are. Not that we're not good enough, like we don't belong.
But
it's just like that's
every
how
week
it
in
is.
this league. That's every week in this league.
You can't go on an 0-4 tear. So
Ryan, look at it this way. They had lost 2 in a row before UCF. If they had lost to UCF at home, reasonable to think things are not trending right. They lose at West Virginia, and then you have the 3 best teams in the league. That's
Hello,
one of those
0-7.
reasons that UCF win was beyond critical. Beyond critical.
I agree.
Yeah, to answer the question, I think Iowa State right now is probably the one that's most likely to turn UC's way, just kind of based off of how things are going, metrically and everything aside. Just what I'm saying. 71-70 is the projected final score on that as of right now.
I'm just saying I've been watching Iowa State, and that's going to be a fight. That's going to be a bloodbath.
Well, I think that's what Cincy brings is a fight. But what I'm coming around to say, full circle, is I think that yes, Houston dominated UCF defensively. Houston is really good this year. But gosh, it's got to be some time where Wes and the Bearcats figure out Houston, get Houston's number, and win a huge game against Houston. You've got a week off of preparation before that game. You've got a chance to get everyone healthy. You got a chance to come out fully fired. It's neon night at Fifth Third Arena that night. I'm not sure what that means. Neon night. So it could be a lot of EDM.
Doing some crazy shit when it comes to a game like that. Top 5 team. Just stick to
It's gonna be a rave. Like, are we
black,
having a
red,
rave?
or white?
Is there gonna be bubbles?
It's like when they white out Nippert. It's like, don't do it. Just
is there gonna be a foam bath?
I hope not. For
I don't
everyone's
know.
sake.
But
I heard John Summit is performing at center court during halftime.
either way, I gotta think maybe they have Houston's number. Come on, let's go.
I'd love to see
Yeah,
it.
they're 0-5 since Wes has been here. Maybe they have Houston's number.
What was
What
it? 2 of those
number?
games they've
Been slowly chipping away.
Or only one of them.
Win.
I can't remember.
Win.
What?
What exactly? What are you talking about?
Who?
You.
What do you mean?
They are nowhere close to chipping away to Houston. Get out of here.
The scores have got. His point is the scores have gotten closer throughout Wes's tenure, which is true.
They were literally in a position to win at Houston last year. What are you talking about?
Till they weren't. Almost doesn't count except in horseshoes and hand grenades, Brent.
That was a close game. They had a shot.
It was. I'm not a fighter with you, Aaron, but I mean, if you're gonna say going from a 40-point loss in year one with Wes to almost beating Houston at Houston last year,
sure that it's closer than 40, but man, until you actually get a win, they don't count. They're all the same. They're all
That's
L's.
really what I just said. I said
they all
let
count the same
that
in the L
Saturday be the time. That's what I'm saying. What are you talking about?
I hope one day I'm as optimistic about anything in my life the way you are about this.
I'm not a big moral victory guy, Jeffrey, at all. I'm saying, okay, you are familiar with the way that Kelvin Sampson plays basketball games, right? This is your first time playing all these other Big 12 teams, right? Is it not? Okay.
Yes.
You're familiar with Kelvin Sampson. You are familiar playing against Kelvin Sampson's team for the most part. A lot of the players on Houston this year were players on Houston last year, right?
That's fair.
Yeah. They added LJ Cryer. They added Damian Dunn. Guess what? You played against Damian Dunn for the last couple of years, right?
Until we win a game, they all.
I'm not saying. I'm saying they're inching closer and closer. I'm not trying to find any moral victory or anything. I'm saying, why not let this be the time against Houston? That's all I'm saying.
I hope you're right.
If TCU can do it, how come the Bearcats can't?
Good point, Brent. Good point, Brent.
I mean, come on.
I'm Team Brent on this one as well. I agree with you.
I mean, Aaron's right. Win.
Moving on.
Beat them, and then we can talk about having Houston's number.
I had to hit Aaron's line there.
All right, whatever. Royer, go ahead.
Moving on. Mailbag. All right. Most excited.
Win. Royer, go.
Most excited NIL pickup for football to watch in the spring, and most excited young guy that you think's going to get some good reps and some good spotlight for development.
Wow, an NIL pickup. I like that.
I'll answer the second one first. I'm going to think about the
Sorsby
first
can't.
one.
I forgot to put the asterisk. Sorsby.
Oh, well, I mean, come on.
Because that is the team. He is the team. The
Right.
team will write on him. So we can't.
You asked a question that has an easy answer.
I forgot to put the asterisk, man. We all know everyone. That should be everyone's number one.
I know the guy for me, the young guy, and it would be redshirt freshman Barry Jackson.
Mm-hmm.
We have at least seen a little bit of him, and the little bit we have seen looks like a playmaker. Looks like someone that is going to be a dude. So I think
Will Pauling-esque.
I think potentially a chance to be better.
Yeah.
But
kind of how Will had that potential as a true freshman.
Yeah.
But you just got a little sniff of him, and then he kind of
took
a big step.
I think Barry might be a little bit more effective on some of like the jet sweep stuff and like a little bit more of like the behind the line of scrimmage stuff than Will was, where Will might be a better at the same stage, might have been a better traditional slot receiver. But that doesn't negate how highly I think of both in all regards. Just when you're kind of looking at like a comparison, that's where I would go. But I think Barry Jackson has a chance to be really good and really impactful on a defense. But the correct answer is Brendan Sorsby.
His asterisk answer.
Aaron, Brent, do you work here?
Give me baby face Joe Royer.
Ooh, let's go. Staying in the family.
At tight end, I think this is a position group that really needed to improve. We still have yet to see what Joey Beljon can do, and I think that Joe Royer was good enough to be brought on at Ohio State. He's not coming off an injury, and I'm excited to see him transferring to Cincinnati, what he can do with a little chip on his shoulder, and see what he can do with one Brendan Sorsby, which is still the right answer.
Got a youngster, Aaron?
Yeah. Well, he's not young technically. He's old.
Royer,
he's a transfer.
Senior.
But he's old.
He's new to us.
He didn't say newcomer. He said youngster.
Well, they're all young. I'm old.
Well, you do just kiss and make up. Jesus.
Chad picked the right one with Barry Jackson. Maybe what about like a Brian Sims was getting a lot of run.
I think that's an interesting choice. Raekwon Atkins would be another name.
Raekwon Atkins got to start. Is Carroll the answer at the other corner?
John Thompson.
Yeah, I guess is he a redshirt sophomore? I guess so. That would
redshirt sophomore. Yeah, so he'd still be pretty young.
He works. Yeah,
youngish.
If you're bringing up Carroll, they were in the same class.
Yeah.
Right. So, I think those are kind of be the names. I feel like a lot of that kind of just the young depth kind of dissipated, if you will, and is kind of getting the overturn. You're seeing the new faces coming in that he's been able to bring in through the portal and through recruiting of their own. As far as out of the portal, you got to take away Sorsby. I guess Bartlett would be the one that I would want to see have the biggest year. That would mean that they found an answer for a big time pass rusher, someone who can come in and kind of really take control there. Safety, they had a lot of good things to say about Kai Stokes, both Satterfield and also Nico on the pod. And then what about a little lightning in a bottle? Evan Pryor getting healthy and just being a Jerome Ford-esque behind, next to one.
I didn't know we were on the sucking on the Buckeyes train tonight.
Hey, if you were on with
Wow.
Luca, you would have heard about it.
Wow.
Hey, I gotta throw that in there. I gotta add a little heat to this.
Honorable mention though to Dakari Anderson, who a lot of people have been talking a lot of good things about him this offseason. So
Another youngster. There we go.
Mhm.
I like that.
I think Evan Pryor is due. I think he's really talented. He was really talented coming out of high school. He got injured, right, at Ohio State once or twice? Yes. So, I mean, because Corey, the way Corey runs the ball, he's not going to be able to run the ball like 25 times a game. That's a guy you want to run the ball 15 to 20, get Evan anywhere from like 8 to 15 carries. And it's a great 1-2 punch. I mean, I'm really excited about him. And I agree on that Stokes pickup too.
Especially with the new 3-3-5 safety.
Yeah.
Are you gonna call him on sucking on Buckeyes and then just rattle off Buckeyes again?
Because it's funny. I had to say it.
You sucked on a Buckeye too, but you know what? They are tasty.
I know.
They are tasty treats though. If you like Buckeyes,
you can take the kid out of Columbus, but you can't take the Columbus out of the kid.
Who you talking to? Me?
Chocolate and the peanut butter.
I forgot we even had those guys, to be honest with you. You guys were just so in on them.
Oh, yeah, you forgot. Mr. Bearcat. Mm-hmm. Oh, boy.
That was my last question, gentlemen.
That was actually good.
That was 3 of them.
That was a really good segment. I actually thoroughly enjoyed your segment. So,
Ripping with Royer. The sponsorship for that is coming soon. Looking forward to it. Timestamp Quick Paper Supply, your local and family-owned restaurant supply company. For all your non-food products, they provide mostly disposable restaurant supplies. Products like to-go containers, cups, pizza boxes, to-go bags, can liners, napkins. They've been open since 2009 and are one of the largest minority-owned companies in the city. Call Nick at 513-470-2029 and reference Bearcats for 20% off your first month of purchases.
Boom, baby. We kind of covered what I was gonna bring up next as far as the the
Tyson fight. Yeah, I don't know if we have a whole lot else to say about that.
And
other than I do want kudos to Satterfield.
Yeah.
He had a bunch of guys that were qualified for this job that were from his coaching tree.
Right.
I asked about it first thing right out of the chute today. Would have been very easy to just boop, call that guy. He's the new defensive coordinator. Instead, went out of his comfort zone. He targeted a guy that has been part of a defense that has been one of the best defenses in the country, in spite of playing in an offensive heavy league that you are now a part of. Mm-hmm. So I think that is the most important takeaway. Like, we joke around about, will it be the 3 high safety 3-3-5? He did like raise his eyebrows a little bit at me in the press conference. Like, you're asking me about that? Yeah, coach. Yeah, we talk ball here. We talk ball. You playing 3 high safeties or what, dog?
They talked a lot about water over there in Ames. We talk football here in Cincinnati.
We talk ball. I got to go. I got to be ready for riffing with Royer tonight. I got questions.
Give me a good answer, sir.
But I think that's a key for me in this thing was he did not limit himself. And coaches, it's something that they're just programmed to do. I've worked with this guy. I know this guy. Let's just take this guy out, move this guy in, keep it moving. I was an important hire for a guy that coaches offense and doesn't spend a whole lot of time on the defense. Go get a dude, and hopefully that's what they did.
Royer, did you watch the Strong Shot Rain?
You're muted. Jesus.
My mouse went out. What did you say?
The Strong Shot Rain.
No, what is that?
hop on the Go Bearcats football account. They got a little
They did a new like
let it fly version.
let it fly thing type thing.
Yeah. I like that take, that little motto. I think it's cool.
15-minute video that you get to watch.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
15 minutes?
Heavily involving Nico Palizzetti.
My guy.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Chad, Aaron, did you guys get to take it in?
I checked it out. Yeah, it was good. I thought, I think there was a lot of things that this fan base needed to hear.
Mm-hmm.
If you're outside of the Bearcat Journal community, it's the first time you're hearing them. If you're inside the Bearcat Journal community and you've watched us with Nico and Coach Cardwell, look, you know what this is about. They have owned up. Last year was not good enough. We better fix this shit because this program deserves better than not good enough. So I think it was a good message overall. From our perspective, it's stuff we've been talking about since the season ended. So I have to remind myself that when I watch it and go, oh, I'm not learning anything. Oh, yeah, well, this is what you do every day. It's not for you.
Right.
It's for the people that, that aren't eating and sleeping and breathing this every day. But overall, I thought the message was on point. It was what it needed to be. And I think that's it's a good starting point for connecting with the fans this offseason.
Aaron, thoughts?
I didn't have a chance to watch. I didn't even know anything about it until about 3 minutes before we started this podcast. So.
All right. There we go. All right. Well,
what did you think, Brent?
A lot of like what you said, Chad. It's definitely if you finish the season frustrated and pissed off about how it went, then you watch that and you're like, okay, faith is starting to be restored a little bit, and you're starting to get that feeling like, okay, yes, they are heading in the right direction, trying to say, hey, we know it sucked too. That's not like us. Seems like they're going to go kind of like an intention training method, like Royer, like what you guys went through. So it kind of seems like that's what they're saying. Nico mentioned it's going to be some of the hardest things you have to go through, not only physically, but, mentally and everything. You're going to wake up some days and wonder if this is even worth it. And, that sort of, pushing through and handling it. And then you have players like Dante Corleone and Corey Kiner on there as well, voicing the same things that the coaches are saying. So, yeah, I think it did everything it needed to do. I'm excited to see how it continues, because I love watching those and just seeing the new faces that start to pop up in the videos and start to kind of see how they're working, how they're meshing with the other players and the coaching staff. So I liked it. I enjoyed it. Nico had me fired up, man. Nico on the pod is awesome. Nico in front of these guys in the weight room is a whole different level, and it's awesome. So I liked it. I thought it was really, really well put together, and excited to see how it continues to roll. But one last shout out real quick before we head into the PBP mailbag. Chad, Kylie Kelsey, how about that?
With the little C-paw on.
Rocking a little C-paw. How about that?
Jason stayed quiet, stayed in the background this weekend, didn't make a lot of noise. I'm guessing that's because he didn't spend he probably didn't spend a couple hours. I know he didn't spend a couple hours with Caleros and Carey before the game. And you're in Baltimore. You do not walk around in Baltimore as the older brother of the other player's best team, partying at the tailgates. A little different. I mean,
I imagine he'll probably be tailgating it up in Vegas.
Sure, there'll be Kansas City fans there. Like, they'll welcome him. Buffalo loves him. He is Buffalo. Like, everything about Bills Mafia is Jason Kelsey. So they legitimately love him. So when they see him, even though he's on the other side, they're like, oh, he's one of us. Here's a bowling ball. Do a shot. Like, they love it. Baltimore, what'd you say, motherfucker? Like, that ain't That ain't it. That ain't where you're rolling around with your boys partying in the parking lot. That's all I'm saying.
Yeah. But
so that means by the time he got to the press box, he didn't have 40 beers already in him.
yeah. And you could tell the wives and girlfriends group chat said wear red to the game.
Yeah.
And guess what Kylie did? She went into the closet, pulled out a Cincinnati sweatshirt, rocking the Seapaw at the game, and in a picture with Taylor Swift. I know Aaron probably left because that reference is coming, but the Seapaw slowly and steadily heading to being worn by Taylor Swift and blowing up the internet for all Bearcat fans out there. So, but awesome to see that. And yet again, Kelsey back in the Super Bowl. Travis also setting the record for most receptions for a wide receiver / tight end, blah, 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 in playoff history. So topping Jerry Rice. And I loved in the post-game press conference, they said, he was like, oh, wow, shouts to Jerry Rice. So, I mean, it's just like, okay, there we go. The boy. But yeah, awesome to see. But yeah, let's go ahead and mailbag her up.
Let's.
That's a BBT timestamp brought to you by Quick Paper Supply, local family-owned restaurant supply company for all your non-food products. Provide a wide range of food service products from to-go containers, cups, custom printed products, eco-friendly, and much more. Cleaning and restroom supplies for all your janitorial needs. Call Nick 513-470-2029 and reference Bearcats for 20% off your first month of purchases.
All right, I'm going to finish typing up this timestamp here. All right, and opening up the mailbag. Only one question in the football portion of the mailbag here where we start. A lot of them have announced they are joining Cincy Reigns and then posting volunteer images. So what does this mean? Also, if someone doesn't announce, does that mean they are not a part of the collective?
It means they have signed with Cincy Reigns and that they can go out in the community and work events and get paid for them as an extension of the collective. That's what it means. If someone doesn't announce, does that mean they are not a part of it? No, we've seen people not announce. Josh Minkins was here for a week and a half and didn't announce that he was coming to Cincinnati. He was enrolled in classes, like taking class, and didn't announce. Last year, Xavier Henderson, we knew about that for what, Aaron, a month?
Something like that.
And he just didn't announce until he showed up the first day of school and then was like, oh, yeah, I'm here. So that does not mean that. Some guys make things public. Some guys don't. I don't know that it means that everybody has signed with Cincy Reigns, but the ones that have will have some opportunity to make some money doing work in the community as part of the collective.
And that does it for the football portion of the mailbag this week. Moving on to the basketball portion of the mailbag. What does Dan have to do to play himself into a first-round draft grade, and how likely is it that could happen this season still?
I really only see one way it could happen this season, and that's he goes into the NCAA tournament and, on national TV looks like a monster for a couple games. Right now, he's just still got some inconsistencies that scouts are going to see, that NBA teams are going to pick apart. He's on the radar, and if he keeps improving, I guess I won't rule out if he averages 22 a game the rest of Big 12 play, there could be some people raise their eyebrows. But short of that, the scouts know he's probably still at least a year away. I think they're thrilled that he's taking the steps that we've seen him taking. But he's still got some work to do, and that's okay. That's what Johnny Dawkins talked about after the game. That's how this thing used to work. You get to see a guy as a sophomore, and guess what? Then you saw him again as a junior, and you're like, oh, damn. Or like John Newman, you see him in year 6, and you're like, that dude's playing the best basketball of his life. Yeah, because he's 24. A grown-ass man.
Yeah, I think it would have to be the tournament jump onto draft boards that you've seen players do in the past. And then normally they're kind of overdrafted because of that. But hey, if you lead the team all the way to the Final Four, Elite Eight, granted national championship, then yeah, you're going to vault up some draft boards, especially if you are able to have the athletic ability and scoring ability and different things that Dan brings intangibly. So
Matt, Dan's not that young.
Yeah, Dan's not that young. Pretty old for his age.
He's 20. He's a 21-year-old sophomore. That's not
pretty old for his age, huh?
I was 18.
Yeah,
as a sophomore.
As a sophomore, I didn't hit 21 till a junior, midway through the year.
He is old for his age, Aaron.
Yeah,
that's what Brent. I was repeating what Brent said.
I'm acknowledging you're funny.
Yeah,
that was a funny.
What did I say?
That he was pretty old for his age.
I mean, he is. Well, I mean, NBA draft age. There you go.
I know, but you said.
Are you familiar with the NBA draft age? Jeez, Aaron is just like all systems fire at me tonight. I'm here
just make jokes. I make jokes where they're
21 years old is that's an NBA draft age faux boo. If he was, if he just turned 18, one of those like crazy guys that is enrolled as a true freshman at the age of 17. And then as a sophomore, they're 18 years old, and that's it. Then
if he was just 19, it would be they'd see him in a different light.
Right, exactly. Yeah. 18, 19. Yeah.
I'm going to answer the last.
He's pretty young.
I'm going to answer the last part of the question. Just how likely is it this could happen this season still? I don't think there's a chance that he plays himself into a first-round grade. To be one of the top 30 guys in this class, I don't see it.
The only thing is NBA draft is really weak, but yeah, there's too many facets that I don't think he'll.
There's a lot of guys that look legit. Watch a Big 12 game.
Right. Right.
All right. Wes said early on in tenure he wants to press defensively. Surprised he doesn't press to create easy baskets?
Not really. I think when they've tried it, they haven't exactly been great at it. I also think at the level that he was at, it's much easier to do that than at this level. Almost every team has an elite ball handler, has size to throw over a press, has ways to beat you. We've seen West Virginia do it at times, and the results have been wildly inconsistent. So I just don't think in this league. Now, I'm surprised we haven't seen it a little more, although we do see Day pick up three-quarter court a lot, just to kind of disrupt a guy. But you haven't seen like much 2-2-1 or 1-2-2 or man press. Like you haven't seen a lot of that unless the situation dictates it. I am a little surprised we haven't seen it more, but I think it's really hard at this level, man. It sounds great in theory. The players are so good. They're so good.
Yeah. I mean, once you see a press come at you, the coach calls out some press break offense, and all of a sudden they're getting a layup at the other end. If you haven't done it in game situations up to this point, then you're not going to want to throw it in during a Big 12 game. So I think kind of telling during the non-conference when they didn't really do too much with it, I think you kind of saw then. And a lot of that had to be probably the fact that there wasn't really any roster continuity throughout the entire offseason. I mean, non-conference season. It was just all, who's eligible, who's not injured, who didn't get hit by a car. It's a crazy, it was a crazy difficult thing to throw together and coddle a roster.
Remember that guy that got struck by lightning?
Yeah. Yeah. Tried to one-up Seamus. So golly. But yeah.
There's an injury I've never talked about that people would. It was a summer thing and it wasn't a major deal, but just some of the stuff is like, how do you couldn't make this up?
I was looking up Anthony Richardson, like injuries, complete sideways thing. But like one of his injuries when he was a quarterback at Florida that Dan Mullen made a big stiff about was like Yeah, Anthony didn't get any time today in the game because he injured himself dancing in his hotel room over the weekend. It's just like, okay, injuries just like what was it? King Griffey Jr. got hurt in his boat.
Yeah, there's guys that have fallen
with his
downstairs.
skill.
There's
Yeah,
guys that have cut themselves making dinner, like sliced a finger almost off. Like, yeah, he's gonna be out for a couple weeks. He cut his finger off chopping some onions.
yeah.
Celebrating a field goal.
I think somebody broke their like cut themselves really bad opening a bottle of champagne or wine or something at some point.
Gosh, I remember watching some of the videos. Royer, did you guys like run down like some crazy stairs to get to the weight room back in the day? I remember watching some like videos like hyping everyone up, and I was like, God,
got wiped out on those stairs a couple times at squat time.
I was like, that looks like it's hard to like get down those stairs with that much energy that they're bringing. But
yeah, I mean, no one ever got hurt, believe it or not, but there was potential.
Absolutely.
All right. Did the loss of Mike Roberts last summer hurt the development of the big men, particularly at the offensive end?
I would say it's been an impact. I don't know how huge of an impact, but been doing it a long time. You got me?
Yeah, you muted out for a second there.
Mike was a really good big man coach and had done it in a lot of different places for a long time. So, if you lose somebody like that, it's going to have an impact. I don't think they've been bad. I would like to see them be more consistent, and maybe that's what you lose with Mike Roberts leaving.
Chad, does the basketball team have an alternate jersey that looks like Pitt? If they do, should they wear them on the road if they want to lose by 50?
Yes. Now, I'm not going to say anything too bad about those jerseys. Apparently, there's a tie to childhood cancer, and they are the colors of somebody that works at Xavier that lost their son to childhood cancer, and those uniforms were a tribute. But I would say if you're going to do it, like, why look exactly like somebody else? Like, you can use the colors and still look like how you look instead of looking like Pitt and then trailing 39-7 5 minutes before halftime. What's that?
All right. If Wes were to walk into a karaoke bar, what song would he be singing to describe the Bearcat Big 12 experience so far? Bonus question, what song would he be singing if talking about his John Newman III experience?
Superman, Hooked on a Feeling. Hooked on a Feeling for the Big 12 experience so far, right? Those wins are addicting. They are unlike any American Athletic Conference win. So I'll go Hooked on a Feeling. High on Believing. Brent?
Man. That's a toughie. A song right off the top of my head.
Don't Stop Believing. Hold on to that feeling.
Pretty good one. I like that.
Alive, Pearl Jam, which is about something else, but they're still alive.
Staying Alive can also roll with you. Staying Alive. Another one, Bites the Dust, maybe. I mean, I don't know what you got, Royer. Give us some songs. It's tough. I know.
Good work, Ryan. You're nailing it.
Vindicated, Dashboard Confessional.
I didn't see this question, so it is hard, Roy. You're coming up with a song off the top of your head.
That was my John Newman III experience song, by the way. Vindicated.
I like it. Is there a song just like Warrior?
Sure
I am the warrior. Yeah, it's from the 80s. Pat Benatar, maybe.
Oh,
Joan Jett.
Demi Lovato had a 2013 song named Warrior, so let's throw that one out there.
At the walls of heartache, bang, bang.
Maybe.
I
I was
am the warrior.
the song this morning I was listening to "Don't Stop Me Now" by Queen.
Oh, I love that song.
It's a good one.
Yeah.
Are you a big Queen guy, Royer?
Yeah, I like Queen. I wouldn't say I'm like a Queen freak, but I appreciate a lot.
They
of
have
their
3 or
songs.
4 songs that are amongst the all-time greatest songs in rock and roll history.
Yeah. Yeah.
I'm a Queen
They're-
guy, Royer. I'm there with you.
Yeah.
Don't Stop Me Now is awesome. Great song.
Yep. I'm
Because I'm having a good time, having a good time. Fantastic.
I can see Royer rocking out that in Vegas.
Oh, yeah.
Don't stop me. I'm having a good time.
Are y'all
Ryan, you want to put your head in this
fan?
fan? Don't stop me now. I'm having a good time.
Tell Jason Kelsey that I'll do some Sigma drinking with him down in Vegas. I'll fly myself out there.
What are your plans for Sigma night? The 150th anniversary.
What are you talking about? I don't even know what you're talking about.
Some insider info. I'll tell you off the air. I don't want to spoil it.
Okay.
Maybe
I would love to hear that.
throw it up, Little John and the East Side Boys, because Newman's been dunked in, or like yeah, a little,
Yes.
represent for his city. Let's see here.
I would on for my city. On. Go ahead, Aaron.
Moving on. UCF game. Player of the game. That's easy. John Newman. Top 2 plays of the game.
Player of the game. Dan.
I think I'm going Dan.
I'm going Dan. Player of the game.
I agree.
I'm not. I'm going John. Defensively.
Okay. Moment of the game, definitely John.
Puts him over
John
the top
Dunk was number 1. I'd say the Dan 3 to go up 5. The dunk was great. I think the pass was better. The pass from Day across the defense.
Mm-hmm.
But I'll go with the play right after that. And the crazy thing is, those were 3 consecutive offensive possessions. Newman dunks on somebody's head to tie it at 50. They get a rebound. Day throws over the top to Dan for a dunk to go up 52-50. And then Dan hits a 3, 55-50. And it was over kind of right at that point. So crazy that those were 3 plays consecutively that are probably the 3 most important plays of the game.
How about
although Odie's
the Odie block?
The Odie block
which led to the Dan kind of like awkward spin pass behind his back thing to John Newman and 1. That was another one.
Sure. Way up there.
Also the one where kind of earlier in the half where Dan was kind of falling out of bounds. He saved the ball in an offensive rebound, and then it went back into Odie. They kicked it out, fired right back down to Odie. That was the seamless pass that you were talking about, and Odie dunked it. There were a
lot of good plays.
There were,
especially in the second half. A lot of good.
They
plays.
were needed, absolutely needed. But Dan on his birthday, 21-7. And just having those highlight times, especially the dagger 3 as well.
Follow that up with dunk of the game. I think we touched on this a little bit. I think we're all in agreement. It is John.
Dunk of the season.
And I'm loving me some Day Thomas, understanding he is far from perfect. What are your overall impressions of his importance to the team now and the rest of the year, as well as his in-season growth?
Well, as far as Day Thomas goes, we kind of touched on it a lot throughout the pod already. A one-man press breaker with his ball handling ability. A phenomenal free throw shooter, we need to mention as well, even when the ref passes the ball back when he's not expecting it, and it hits him in the face, and he gives the ref a look, and the ref just shrugs his shoulders and says, what? Another one is the fact that, he gets so much separation on his shots, and a lot of these shots are wide open. If they start falling, wow, That's a next level ability. And then, of course, last but not least, Chad's take on his defense, which has been some of the best on-ball defense that we've seen. So, yeah, I think, yes, his blemishes, we've all talked about them. We all know what they are. But his positives have really started to shine through.
Yeah, that separation that you're talking about, I feel like he gets maybe the most height on his jump shot out of anybody on this team.
Oh, yeah. And some of his rebounds, too, like when it's just him, like in space, he just looks like he gets so high to grab him. Just that overall athleticism at the point guard position that Cincinnati really hasn't had for quite some time is it's awesome to see.
As far as importance, yeah, I mean, he's between he and Jizzle, they've been better than advertised collectively, and I think we've been impressed with both of them just throughout the season. And
do you think that if Day takes that next step and really starts to just kind of knock down his shots, he might be the singular most important player to take that next step? Because I mean, obviously, if CMOS starts hitting shots, Dan started to already take those steps. You kind of know what you're getting with the bigs, but if Day does take that leap, then you're talking about this team having a whole different level. So,
well, couldn't you say the same thing though for Jizzle if he improves that same way on the defensive side of the ball?
Right, yeah, I agree.
Getting there.
I think Jizzle's offense recently hasn't been as
it's tapered off a little bit.
Yeah, he had that one run, against BYU in the second half, and then so he's still consistent with can knock down a couple mid-range jumpers or two, but yeah, I think Day and Jizzle, just the combination, it's getting better, definitely getting better.
Agreed.
All right. And the last question of the mailbag, moving into the Banks portion. Of course, it's Skins. Skins a little light in the question this week, which should work in getting us out of here. But rapid fire. Chad, do you ever wish you could launch people into a volcano when reading game threads?
Yes, I do wish that.
Who has the best rolls at a restaurant and why is it Red Lobster?
It can't be Red Lobster because you asked the question. Red Lobster has biscuits. They're not rolls. If the question is rolls, the answer is Texas Roadhouse.
Cinnabutter Nation.
That shit's good.
Are you team Texas Roadhouse?
I am proudly.
And yeah, it's good. It's quality.
I have never been, so we need to go, and I want to try these rolls. I see these records that these kids.
Brent would eat 100 of those rolls.
Brent, that's like it's like the place to go for date night here in Athens. It's one of the few sit down restaurants that's not.
Well, if you start to like,
don't they got Applebee's out there, man?
Yeah, there's Applebee's.
There's Arby's.
Well, Aaron, if you like me again, we can go on a double date. You and the missus, and then me and the miss, and go to Texas Roadhouse. I can.
If you drive through Athens again and actually stop and let me know that you're coming through.
Okay.
Best bread in general. Look, man, those Cheddar Bay biscuits are incredible. Incredible. I really like the Outback bread, the brown wheat Outback bread.
I can't let
it's
you
not
go.
Rye. It's actually wheat, I think.
You can't gloss it. It was pumpernickel. Is that Outback bread?
Okay, I knew it wasn't rye. That's all. That's what I know.
Montgomery Inn has really good bread.
But we can't gloss over O'Charlie's. I thought O'Charlie's has some pretty damn good rolls.
They have good rolls.
Actually,
as well.
You know who the best is, but very few people know about? Rafferty's does croissants with honey butter.
So does Charleston's.
Well, no, he had best bread. This Geoffrey came in with best bread, so we're opened it up to all contenders. Rafferty's is a sleeper. They're not the best, but a croissant with honey butter on it is pretty damn good.
All right.
No.
And last of all, who has the most unique Bearcat Journal name? Turd Killer or Bigus Dicus?
That is not it. I'll go Big Dickus.
No, it's Bigus.
Biggest Dickus. Actually, you want to know my favorite
Big name.
Bearcat Journal name? And it's been my favorite for a long time. It was one of the early members. Lucy loves bananas.
That was a good one. Yeah.
Rest in peace, Lucy. Lucy loves bananas.
Shouts to Lucy.
Yeah. Did you know
That's the
Lucy Ryan?
mailbag.
Did you ever meet Lucy? You never met the Bearcat from the
No.
zoo?
Never met her. Lucille.
Lucy. Every
feel
time they
like
would bring her out to Fifth Third Arena, the guy holding her would just be feeding her chunks of banana. So somebody showed up on the board as Lucy loves bananas, and that's
feel
been
like
my favorite.
Mr. Bearcat should be required to wear the Bearcat like Britney Spears with the snake.
Yeah. Best non-app starter food. What the hell is a non-app starter food?
What we're talking Caesar
salad?
Starter foods are apps, right? Like,
Is it a salad?
Caesar salad.
what kind of stupid question is that?
Still love you, Geoff.
Just because they put it on the menu with a different name, they're trying to trick you, Geoff. It is an app. It belongs in the app section. These are not apps. They're trying to trick you into ordering them because you're like, I'm not hungry. I don't want an app. I'm gonna get something else that's definitely not an app that they serve me at the exact same time I would get my appetizer.
It's not like a soup, like a chowder.
Like soup and salad is the only answer.
Wings, a quesadilla.
Wings are an app. They're in the app section everywhere.
They're usually
Quesadillas
just
are in the app section.
Wings are usually on wings. They're their own
If they
portion
no,
of
if
the
they're
menu.
if the
If they're a
restaurant
wing
specializes in wings, yes. If they don't, they're on the app section.
Right there
Chips and
next
salsa,
to
like they just bring that shit to you free here.
a quesadilla.
All right, that's the
Salad.
mailbag. Get us
Give me
out of
a
here,
good
Brent.
soup. I love soup. Give me a good soup in the winter.
I
Royer,
think
what's your favorite
Joffrey
soup?
wants everyone to say breadsticks.
I love chicken tortilla soup. I love
Chicken
that
tortilla
shit.
soup's outstanding.
Yep.
No argument there.
What's your
How
thoughts
about
on
gumbo?
fried
Good
onions?
wedding soup. Good wedding
Chicken
soup.
sausage.
To pander to my
Chicken
heritage.
sausage gumbo.
Ooh, is that a
I
soup?
love a good. Yeah, gumbo. I think gumbo can be considered a soup. It's
I agree.
brothy.
Gumbo is a soup.
Don't
brothy.
turn it into a jambalaya because then it's jambalaya.
That's not a soup. Jambalaya is not a soup. Gumbo is a soup.
Shake.
Your boy
Shake
Ty.
Shake might be one of the most powerful snacks to ever be created. Shake is watching Interstellar for the 5th time in Ty's apartment, and then going to the UDF on down Clifton Avenue and getting a milkshake and doing that twice a week.
Wow.
That sounds like when I thought of
What-
shake, I thought of something that I didn't think was what you were thinking of. But then by the end of your
You thought we were talking
description,
about the
I felt like maybe we were talking about the same thing.
Yeah, that's what I was
Shake is
thinking.
what
Yeah, like-
shake is what happens right before you end up at UDF and drink a $12 milkshake.
And watching
Oh, yeah,
Interstellar
yeah.
for the 5th time.
or like shake that ass.
Ooh.
No, it's still not what I was thinking.
I know what you're thinking.
Yeah. Ass is
Shake is the best.
code word for a
Get us out of here, Brent.
plastic bag. Yeah, you know what? That's fantastic, BBP guys. And anything else? You know, stay tuned. There was a monster.
Brent,
junior
we're
day.
at 159. Get us the fuck out of
There's
here.
a monster junior day this past weekend. Stay tuned to the BCJ. More updates as that continues to expound. There's big games, 2 of them, 2 road games this upcoming week. Stay locked into those. But there's nothing else to say. No more to add. Yet again, another fantastic BBP presented by BearcatJournal.com.